Well, boys, we're continuing off with where we left off with the in the grading process. Initially, it was going to be the whole entire thing, but we decided last minute that we're just going to do the offense yesterday. Today, we're going to continue finishing it up with defense and special teams coming up right here, right now on the NE Patriots Talk channel. Let's go. Good evening, guys, and welcome back to another edition here on the NE Patriots Talk channel. Hope you guys are having an awesome day as usual. And today, like I said before, we're going to continue with our grading series by starting with defensive linemen, all the linebackers, cornerbacks, safeties, kickers, punters, long snappers, basically the defense and special teams. But how are boys doing?
Okay. Honestly, ready to talk defense after, there's a lot more. I know it sounds cliche, but there's a lot more known knowns with these defensive players. Because I mean, you're going to be talking Christian Gonzalez, you're going to be talking Christian Barmore, you're going to be even guys who've never been with the Pats, Harold Landry, John Spillane, or Robert Spillane rather. These are guys who, whether they're on the Pats or not, are known quantities. I mean, you're not just going to be talking a bunch of rookies and I'm going to say I'm not going to say a washed up Stephon Diggs. We just don't know who he's going to be yet. And, anyway. So, yeah, it should be much more, I'm not going to say interesting, but more to the point, if you know what I mean. So I'm psyched to talk defense tonight with you guys.
How about you, Austin?
I'm really excited for tonight. Kind of what Andy alluded to. I mean, yesterday there's a lot more uncertainties as far as the offense, and now we kind of get to talk about the defense where, this is a defense that's pretty stacked on paper. We'll have to see how they perform, but very athletic, high motor, like very good secondary, disruptive pass rush, like vocal leadership. I mean, there's a few concerns, like kind of wonder what our linebacker coverage is going to look like in man schemes. And there has been like some injury history at cornerback. Marcus Jones, Carlton Davis are not the healthiest corners.
Linebacker,
they are very efficient when they are on the field. What's up?
Edge rusher might be a slight concern as well, but we'll talk about that later when we get to the position groupings, whatever you want to call them.
How about you, Dustin?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. I'm excited to see what we got when we get into training camp with all the additions that we had in the off season, with the additions that we got in the draft, the guys that we have coming back. I'm very excited to see what the potential is of this group. We got to see it to really believe in it. But I'm seeing this being our defensive-led New England Patriots type team. Definitely going to be leaning on that defense coming in with our offense having a bit more experience right now. I'm very excited. I'm excited to go over these groupings and hear all of our thoughts on this.
Yeah, exactly. And as always, guys, before we get started, please make sure that as you come into the show, please make sure that you smash the like button and hit subscribe. It's completely free and helps support the channel. And throughout the show, please post in your questions and comments so we can at least read them during or maybe at the end of our discussion. And then, but let's pull back that chart that we left off with, and we're going to start with the defensive line. And I'm probably assuming that's including defensive ends and defensive tackles. So, but I'm just going to say with the defensive line, it looks a lot better than what we all anticipating considering free agency, draft, the depth for the defensive line. It looks, I wouldn't say immaculate just yet, but it has improved, especially when we have, I'm just going to say in general, like we said so in the previous positional live streams, but that the defensive coaching staff has also been improved, not just with like the players and the talent, but also with the coaching. And I'm really excited to see what this defense could cook up under Vrabel and hopefully Terrell Williams if he comes back healthy after that health scare. But I'll start off with your grades, Andy. You're muted, bro. You're muted.
I got you, Dao. Thank you. So defensive line, 2 guys. I'm going to zero in on here right now. Their names are Milton Williams and Christian Barmore. Those 2 might be, I'm not going to say best IDL duo in the league just yet, but Williams had at least, I think, played only 70% of the snaps for Philadelphia last year and had 3 sacks in every single playoff game. And of course played a huge role in the Eagles Super Bowl victory. If I can just quickly look up what he did there. Oh, no, wrong guy. Milton Williams. So Milton Williams, he's called a defensive end. I think he's, his height's 6'3", 290, though. That's really if you built more like a defensive lineman. And in the playoffs, he played 4 games, 7 combined tackles, 2 sacks. Oh, that's the playoffs? It says he only had 2 sacks. That's weird.
Yeah, that was in the Super Bowl.
Oh, it's just the Super Bowl. Yeah. Oh, so this was just the Super Bowl. 7 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 quarterback hurries, 2 tackles for a loss. A forced fumble. The guy is a one-man wrecking crew. And in and it says here about OTAs. First of all, he signed, and this is Williams signed a $104 million contract. We've never had a player sign with the Pats for that much. That's potentially key. This says that this is from an article. Throughout the organized team practice this week, New England Patriots defensive tackle Milton Williams impressed coaches and the media with his passion and quickness off the line. And quickness off the line is something we haven't had in a while on the defensive line. Boston Sports Journal's Mike Giardi commented that Milton Williams was, quote, a pain in the hindquarters all afternoon, translation, adding how much trouble he caused the offensive line through drills. Williams was the league's most effective pass rusher last season with a 90.4 grade, according to Pro Football Focus, second among all qualifying defensive linemen. His overall PFF grade of 70.1 ranked him 31st among 219 ranked players. Christian Barmore had nothing but good things to say about his new teammate. Quote, he makes me work hard, man. He's a hell of a worker, hell of a guy, hell of a player. Barmore said of Williams, really excited to definitely see him. And Mike Vrabel thinks Williams is the ideal defensive fit. Christian Barmore, as we know, drafted in the 2nd round by the Pats in 2021 and was sidelined for almost the entirety of last season with blood clots. I do not know why Gerard Mayo made the call to play him on that November game. It was completely stupid. And then, he got, withdrawn, I think 2 or 3 weeks down the line after that for healthcare reasons or whatever. So I think, but like Williams, Barmore was a wrecking crew in 2023. We had something of a breakout year in 2023. So those are going to be my 2 big guys on the defensive line. So all right, I'm sorry. I'm being a little slow here. So and then I think Joshua Farmer also a defensive lineman out of Florida State, I believe. I watched some footage of him last night, and he knows how to get to the quarterback, man. Like Milton Williams, he's got speed and he's got size. So one thing that really hits me about this defensive line is speed. I really like the speed with which they get to the quarterback. Williams has it. Farmer has it. And then when you bring in so again, sorry, I'm being so slow here. Isaiah Aiton, honestly, still kind of an unknown. Harold Landry could really, obviously brought over from the Tennessee Titans. He had 9 sacks last year and has looked, pretty much, again, a machine through OTAs. I think might be more suited to, is possibly actually ranks more of an edge rusher than as a defensive than as a linebacker, rather. If I look up his stats, he's called an outside linebacker, but he played 17 out of 17 games for Tennessee last season. He had 4 passes defended, 9 sacks, and
basically Harold Landry's been really, really consistent.
Harold Landry is consistent and doesn't have much of an injury history either. I mean, listen to this. 15 games in 2018, 16 and 19 and 20, 17, and he had a torn ACL in 2022. I do take that back, but that's been his only major injury. He played 17 games in 21, 23, and 24. So he's consistent. And again, with Barmore still potentially, although different positions, that's like Milton Williams, you want to have him as a backup because Barmore is still an injury risk or a health risk with those blood clots from last season. Deion White, I think, is categorized as a defensive end. I think we'll see him played at linebacker more here, but yeah, I mean, gosh, I'm so sorry. And we have Kyrese Tonga, the nose tackle, who could be who ranked on PFF. His overall grade was only 60, but he had 12 solo tackles, 107th. That's not great. So he wasn't the best, but he's one of those guys who could thrive under a Mike Vrabel defense. So yeah, I mean, all things considered, you've got basically known quantities in Barmore, Williams, and Landry. The only real unknowns you have, and Farmer, looks legit. Kyrese Tonga, is a solid, could prove to be a solid nose tackle. I'm going to give this position group an A, a solid A.
There you go. We got an A from Andy. That's okay. Also, I'm going to briefly read this comment, and then I'll get to Austin. Luke said that Barmore and Williams are chef's kiss on the defensive line. I totally agree. If we just had Barmore this season compared to similar to last season,
that would have meant a couple wins, 1 or 2.
Yeah, but how about you, Austin?
Austin, you're up, man.
Yeah, so I think we have a really, really good D-line. We're pretty deep at the position, I'd say, and they've been preaching violence, and I think that's exactly what we got. Violent players, aggressive players, playing with physicality, jumping the gaps, getting penetration. I see multiple scheme fits in the sense of like you can't really label these players as, oh, he can only play this and he can only play that. Like I could see Barmore line up anywhere on the line, Milton Williams, Keon White, like all those players can pretty much line anywhere on that front, and I think would provide a positive impact for our football team. Just some of the weaknesses I would say is they struggle. They don't so much struggle with setting the edge. It's that edge discipline where the quarterback breaks contain and maybe they're like breaking too early. I've noticed that a little bit. And of the depth that we do have, it is very raw, but it's all about practice and just getting that pass rush consistency. Milton Williams is obviously the biggest addition to that front, and I just think he's really going to set the tone, and he brings that championship mantra, right? The one thing you need when trying to build a championship team is not only a coach that believes in you, but people that believe in you and that have also fought for it and have won a championship themselves, which I think is a key factor in bringing in someone like a Milton Williams, someone like a Carlton Davis III, who have gone to battle in Super Bowls and come out victorious, right?
And kind of piggybacking off that, Austin, sorry, guys want to play for Mike Vrabel. I mean, you've seen that through all of OTAs. And there was that time where Vrabel pulled Williams aside and, it's like, okay, Milton, you did A, B, and basically you did A, B, and C, do X, Y, and Z. And, players respond positively to him. And that's something we haven't seen in way too long a time.
Right. I agree. Keon White, I think he's progressively gotten better every year. And I mean, he's just like an athletic freak. It's just we're waiting for that breakout season. And I think this could very well be it. He has a quick get off from the snap. I think he's still kind of developing secondary pass rush moves, but he keeps getting praise for his intensity and play finishing in practice. So hopefully that translates to the field. Christian Barmore, love that he's back. I'm so glad that all of the issues with blood clots seem to be behind him. I think he's one of the NFL's most underrated 3-techs, just being able to play on that line. I mean, we've missed him. We've dearly missed him. I don't think there's any disagreement with that.
Sorry, define 3-tech.
3-tech just means he can stand up, be in the 3-point stance, 4-point stance. He can rush off the edge, be the nose tackle, be the D tackle, like just pretty much lining up, being super versatile.
Okay,
pass
cool.
rush,
Yeah, so basically pretty much anywhere, not just in the middle of the D line either. Pass rush.
Right.
He proved, right there you go. Okay, cool.
I think our depth, I mean, we have Jeremiah Farms Jr. coming back, who's, been a stout anchor on the interior gap control, and he's been pushing some of these other guys out for rotational reps. So it's good to see that. I think Kyrus Tonga is going to be that, Devon Godchaux type of role, space eating nose tackle, difficult to move in double teams. Something like a Joshua Farmer. I mean, that's what you want. You want raw, violent hands coming straight out of college. Like Vrabel's going to mold that guy into exactly the type of player he needs. And then I feel like the rest of the guys just are providing good reps. And I don't know if they'll necessarily make the team, Truman Jones, Jacqueline Roy, Isaiah Ayton, and Javari Ritzy, but they all show good qualities that have at least contributed. Where, we're looking at the O-line and you're like, I mean, half these guys shouldn't even be on an NFL team. I think these guys at least contribute. With that being said, I have to give this D-line an A-. I just think there's so much promise to see here, and I think we're in for something special this season with this pass rush.
How about you, Dustin?
Before we get to that, there is a comment that you might have seen already over on the side that I do kind of want to address real quick before I get into my grading.
Sure, I was gonna ask you that. Yeah, welcome to the show, Molly.
First off, thank you very much for tuning in. Nice to see you getting into football. As for your questions, what makes Mike Vrabel such a good coach, and do you think he can improve our defense? For the good coach part, for one, he's had experience in the league. He I forget exactly what year he was drafted to the Patriots, but he's played on the Patriots post for multiple years, has experienced some championship wins with us, so he knows what winning is like. He knows what the culture is like. He knows how to bring that kind of mentality to New England. And I feel like he's going to be that good fit for our guys. He's going to bring that intensity. He's going to bring that just want to play, just want to be here. He's going to start a new culture where, like, a culture that we've had before, but molded in his own way. And as far as can he improve our defense, he's a defensive player. He played at linebacker for us for quite a few years, and the man was just a unit for us. He knows what it's like on the defensive side. He was a captain. He's a leader. He's an overall vocal guy. He is an amazing player and more than an amazing person. I have nothing but high things to say on Vrabel, and I can't wait to see what he does with this team. But thank you for the question, Molly, and welcome to the Patriots Pat's Talk.
And to clarify something, Andy posted in a chat just to answer your question, Dustin, that he was drafted by the Steelers, so he had experience under Bill Cowher, who was that prior to Mike Tomlin. He was the previous coach for the Steelers.
I couldn't remember for sure. I wasn't too much into football back then, so I couldn't remember for certain.
Yeah, I wasn't even.
I'm still fairly new myself, but I mean, yeah, I don't remember that far back. But going into my grading and stuff for the whole D-line, I'm really loving what we're seeing. Obviously, we got the elephant in the room and Milton Williams being that guy coming from the Eagles who just experienced a Super Bowl win. He knows what it's like to put in that work, and he knows what it's like to win that game. And I'm sure he's itching to win it again. And I'm sure he's wanting to be able to play a lot more, considering the Eagles didn't play him. I think it was 70%. I want to say it was maybe between 50 to 70%, but I can't remember for certain. I'm probably going to stick to that 70% that Andy said.
70 is correct.
Yeah, we got him. We got Barman, who's coming back off the blood clots. Hopefully, he'll be able to continue to play for us. Hopefully, those blood clots are completely gone. Hopefully, he doesn't have no more scares. I don't know too much about that. Not no medical expert, but hopefully, they're done and gone for good. And another guy that I'm really going to be watching on is Keion White with all the additions that we have all over the defense. I'm expecting a solid break. I'm expecting a good breakout year from Keion White. I'm expecting them to terrorize quarterbacks and be able to get through that line with all the talent that's going to be probably distracting other offensive coordinators. Keion White's still going to kind of be under the radar, so I feel like he's going to really show, like, don't ignore me. I'm a unit too. Don't ignore me. But you also got our rookie in Joshua Farmer. You got some good depth in Isaiah Holton, Kyrus Tonga, Jacqueline Boy. We got solid depth, and we got solid units starting on that defensive line. Overall, I'm going to give it an A. I'm loving what I'm seeing on this defensive line. I'm loving what we brought in. I've loved what we kept. I'm excited to see what this defensive line can do, not only in the pass rush. I hope and pray our running defense is way better, which from the looks of it should, but I'm hoping our run game on the defensive side will improve a lot.
So, an A for Dustin. Got it. So for my thought process when it comes to the defensive line, besides all the talent that you guys brought in, I really love the additions of Milton Williams, the fact that we drafted Joshua Farmer, who potentially could be a draft steal for us, even though he does have some lingering injuries during his time at Florida State. Keion White, I know he was misused by the hairy hooded tyrants, and then Covington, which kind of got pissed me off. But I want to talk about the defensive coordinator that we have. And the reason why I mentioned him, Terrell Williams, is because he was the defensive line coach during his time with Tennessee and the Detroit Lions. And the reason why I'm saying that is because he has a really good track record of developing defensive linemen. And considering that he has new players to work with, his track record with defensive lineman Terrell Williams is going to be excellent. Like, he had Jeffrey Simmons. You have Hale Landry, who is now with the team. You had Zadarius Smith. You had Aiden Hutchinson. Heck, you even had DJ Reader during his time in Detroit. Basically, Terrell Williams could definitely make an impact for the defense as a whole. Even though this is going to be his first year as the defensive coordinator, I just like the fact that Mike Vrabel brought him in because he has the experience. The defense back in Tennessee was really, really good. So, I think that his presence and how he's going to teach the defensive linemen, even some of the veterans, the proper ways of pass rushing, and then his technique and learning the defensive schemes under him, I would also give this an A, considering that I'm really excited for what Terrell Williams is going to cook up for this defensive line, and especially that your defensive coordinator was a former defensive line coach. It's actually going to be interesting, even though Covington was also a defensive line coach. It did not help that there was no preparation behind it, but otherwise I'll give this an A for the defensive line. But let's now head over to the middle linebackers, and I would say that to be honest, I love what Vrabel did with the linebacker crew. It went from having Bentley, Tavai, and Ellis to something more revamped with Gibbons, Spillane, and then extending Ellis. I like the thought process with what Mike Vrabel did, especially during free agency. But I'll start with you, Andy, again, and hopefully, just bring out your grades, Andy, for the middle linebackers.
I gotcha. So here we go. Forgive me here.
Looking onto PFF, man.
Yeah.
Let me bring out the list if you want, or
Sorry about that.
Also, it was also reported that Marte Mapu has retransitioned from being a safety back to middle linebacker. So this is actually going to be really, really interesting.
That'll be very, very interesting.
Just give out your thoughts, and then you can look at the stats.
So yeah, so here I have weak side, strong side. Oh, inside. Are they inside linebackers? Is that what middle is?
Yeah, pretty much. That's the interior, and then the outside is the exterior.
So obviously we're talking Robert Spillane, whom we brought over from the Raiders, Jelani Tavai, Christian Ellis, and Jack Gibbons. Jack Gibbons was in Tennessee with Mike Vrabel, so we know he has the history there. I really liked the signings of both Gibbons and Spillane. I mean, these are two of the most underrated linebackers in the NFL. If I just quickly look at Gibbons's PFF, and another thing about these guys is they don't have a very massive injury history either. And, you want stability in terms of injury, if you know what I mean. At your middle linebacker, the nickname for them is quarterback of the defense. So Gibbons ranked 83.2, which is 12th out of 189 in terms of PFF grades for linebackers overall. So that's 12th overall linebacker. Like most of our defensive guys, I mean, the weak point, as Austin alluded to earlier, is actually gonna be our run defense. But that's, oddly enough, Gibbons' run defense, and this is, I believe, one of the main reasons Vrabel brought him in. His pass rush grade was a 65. His run defense grade was a 79.9. He almost had an 80% run defense grade, and we couldn't stop the run last year to save our lives with Covington heading that defense. A 75-7 in coverage, which ranked 13th out of 189 linebackers. I don't think our coverage D was that great last year either. He also had 24 solo tackles, which is exactly in the middle of the pack for linebackers. If I go over to now former Raider Robert Spillane, and again, here we're talking about, and I forgot he was a Pittsburgh Steeler, but his first game, 2 seasons, he started only 2 and 8 games, and then it's 12, 14, 16, 17, 17. So we're talking sturdiness there. Last year, no interceptions. He did have 2 sacks. His PFF grade was overall 68-4, which 66th out of 189 linebackers. Again, we brought him in for this run defense grade, an 87-3. He was top 10, was Robert Spillane. Let me say that again. Top 10 among linebackers per PFF in 2024. And we need a defense that can stop the run and get penetration and, I shouldn't say make life heck for the offensive lineman, but, when you've got a good linebacker who can, go around, skirt the middle of that offensive line, maybe get a sack, that get around, get to the quarterback, you need speed. His coverage grade, though, was pretty dismal, 48-8. And let me just go to Christian Ellis real quick. Christian Ellis actually played far better for the Patriots last season than a lot of people seem to remember. He played in 16 games. He had an interception, and he had a fumble recovery, and he had a sack and a half. And if I look at his stats, he ranked 41st out of 189 linebackers per PFF with a 72-6, and that's nothing to sneeze at. I mean, like I said, quarterback of the defense, you could say Christian Gonzalez was the quarterback of our defense, but yeah, his run defense grade was a 70.1. Pass rush grade 73.9, decent in coverage with which the 63.1. And it does seem like, these guys, and Tavai, he did have that, bashing the fans last season, but he's been fairly solid for the Patriots since we drafted him. So overall, considering that I believe Christian Ellis is still, I believe he's still fairly young. He's 26, so middle-aged. He was actually drafted by the Vikings and was practice squatted there. He's been with the Pats since 2023. So, I mean, when you've got, like I said, Gibbons is a Vrabel guy. Spillane is pretty solid coming over from Vegas. But we don't really, and I'm sorry, I didn't watch much footage of OTAs with these guys. So I'm going to cut to the chase. And
it's unfortunate that there's not, you're going to have to scroll back up to Taylor Kyles or Mike Reese, but it's really impossible to find footage from OTAs. But
my grade here, though, is a B+, but carry on down.
No. I was just gonna say, Andy, that I understand that you couldn't find some of the footage, but it's OTAs. Unless there's some like clips from Mike Reese or clips from Taylor Kyles, anything from
clips from Evan Lazar, we'll occasionally put, little clips on YouTube. It'll pop up in the chat every so often. It's like, yeah, I got to watch this. So here you go.
Also, by the way, guys, I apologize if I had my camera off during your spiel, Andy. I just got a phone call from my manager about my thing, but we'll discuss this at the end of the live stream. But Molly, since you're in the chat, since you said that you're new to football, you can ask us any questions, like if you want to find out what the cornerback does, what the middle linebacker does, or what the defensive tackles do. By all means, write it in the chat and we can answer it for you. But
and again, I think, especially if I remember correctly, like you talked, Austin, about the defensive lineman bouncing around on the defensive line. I think it's Spillane. One of these guys is fairly versatile. I think Ellis and Spillane both have quite a bit of versatility and can play, either, they could play middle linebacker. I think, didn't Ellis play a little bit of outside linebacker? I could be misremembering there, but they do have some versatility as well. B+ my overall grade for them.
How about you, Austin?
I think there's a lot to love with this group. I think what the D-line lacks, these linebackers kind of make up for it in the interior. They provide a reliable run defense and experience. But I think they're pretty limited in a lot of man coverage or pass game versatility. Like, there's no question they have the physicality, the communication, the tackling discipline, but it's just like lateral agility. I feel like they're going to be a problem when it's, you got like a Travis Kelce on the other side. It's like, hey, Spillane, go cover him. Like, mismatch nightmares. I think the only one really capable of kind of covering like that would probably be like Christian Ellis, because I actually compare him to like a Fred Warner on the Niners, just very speedy but can kind of play everywhere. But I think Robert Spillane was a great addition. He's instinctive and tough. He definitely excels in a lot of run fits. But like I said, he's kind of a detriment in man coverage. But he brings a lot of downhill aggressiveness. I mean, what was that clip? It was him. I don't know if it was him on the Steelers or him on the Raiders or whatever, Titans maybe. But it was like Derrick Henry's coming downhill right on the goal line, and Spillane just boom, brick walls Derrick Henry. And when I saw that, I was like, man, I love that guy. I need him on my team. And finally we got him on our team. But that dude is a baller. And he played nearly every first team rep in camp. So this guy is going to be starting and that he cares about the team. Jelani Tavai, he took a lot of reps. I could see like Tavai and Spillane, like if Spillane's in, he's primary, caller. Spillane comes out, maybe Tavai's your, signal caller. I could also see Craig Woodson doing that, but we can talk about that later. I think Tavai's been very durable over the past years. Correct me if I'm wrong if he had like an injury recently, which kind of sucks if he did. But I thought he played very well for Bentley being out most of last year. The little talks that he made to the fans probably rubbed people the wrong way, but I think people can look past that with Mike Vrabel coming in. But again, he lacks a lot of coverage and lateral speed. So Christian Ellis,
right.
I love.
Tavai is reliable, Austin. You're 100% correct.
Right. Christian Ellis, I love. I mean, he's a young up-and-comer. Like, you can tell he just wants to be in the film room. He wants to improve. I think he has a very high football IQ. And the film kind of shows that he stepped up in big ways last year when nobody else really would for our team. And I think he could win kind of the weak side role if he continues like playing this well in preseason. Jack Gibbons, I think he's going to be a good rotational piece. He flashed in some of the 7-on-7s. Monty Rice, I think, is the odd man looking in. I think he needs to improve in a lot of ways, most specifically diagnosing the play and breaking it down, not kind of just like staring, watching everything happen, but actually knowing what to do when people hike the ball. But I think he can provide some special teams value. Overall, this is a small group, right? But compared to some of the others, but I think it's a solid group. And I'm going to give that, I think a B is fitting of a solid group that you could be happy with going into the next season.
Yeah. But before we get into before we get to your take, Dustin, I think Molly has a question for us that I think either one of you guys can answer. And she asked us, what is the difference between middle linebackers and linebackers? And I know, Gerard, you wrote something in the chat to give away the answers, but I want to hear your thoughts, like either from you, Austin, or from you, Dustin, about this question.
I already gave my answer in the chat, so you guys can take it if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, middle linebackers kind of like your run stopper. He's gonna fill like the A and B gaps, left, right of the center. They're just kind of big bodies that play right behind the defensive line, and they're kind of what's considered the second level. You don't want to get anybody past the third level, so like they're like the second line of defense. The big difference between middle linebackers and outside linebackers is like middle linebackers are usually your stronger physical linebackers, not as speedy, but can get those like crucial stops that you need. The outside linebackers are going to be more of your coverage backs or more of your edge rushers that can get to the quarterback. That's the big difference. I would say they're pretty interchangeable, but you definitely want your bigger physical guys in the middle, because if you don't have those guys, they're just going to run all over you, the other team.
And what exactly is running downhill?
Running downhill just means like picture like a halfback dive. So picture the quarterback hiking the ball, handing it right off the Derrick Henry, and he just runs right up behind the center. And he just
Sprints
has like
down
a head
the
of
field,
steam. Yeah.
Molly, I'm really liking your questions, considering that you're brand new and you're basically asking us questions. This is what this live chat stream is here for. Besides us grading positions, we really want to hear your questions. So I really, really like that. And by the way, guys, if you really, really want to participate, please put in your questions similar to what Molly has been doing, and even John if he can make it. But let's continue with the grades. Let's continue with Dustin's grades on the middle linebackers.
Okay, so I do kind of want to state on something here real quick before actually giving
Now,
a grade.
Austin gave a B, just FYI.
Oh, I think I wrote that down on my clipboard, but I can
I didn't even see it and put it down yet. But I do kind of want to.
You're glad I got the clipboard right here.
I do kind of want to start by stating something of it's kind of hard for me to kind of like give grades on the middle and outside linebackers when we don't really know exactly what the defensive scheme for the most part is going to be. I looked it up just now while Andy was talking. From what I've been able to gather, Vrabel's kind of supposedly has revealed that they're planning on keeping more of a base defense of a 3-4 package with like some dynamic nickel packages mixed in there here and there. Can't go much more in depth. Obviously, he's not going to reveal everything, but until like I know exactly how the lineup's going to look, it's going to be kind of hard for me to like give specific grades on middle and outside linebacker or interior and exterior linebacker. So it's going to kind of be my grade for both. But going into the linebackers, I do like what we have depth overall. Obviously, you got two of my favorites that we have in here so far, in Harold Landry and Robert Spillane. Those guys are going to be like your tone setters in there. Going to be your bit of your leaders in there, helping a lot of these younger guys coming in, helping them figure out where they need to be, what the defense needs to line up in. You got your rookie in here, Braden Swisson, which I've talked to him about before with Dao here on another video. If you guys want to check that out on another day, that'd be fantastic. You get Jelani Tavai, Elijah Ponder. You got a lot of guys you got some guys who came back, other guys that came from other teams to be tone setters, a couple guys from the draft. We got overall, I'm really loving the room that we have. The room of guys, we have a good mix of solid veterans and some good young talent, kind of like a receiver room, but I feel more confident in our linebacker room than our receiver room right now. But again, it's going to be kind of hard for me to give a grade for both positions, so it's going to kind of be my grade for them for like just linebacker in general until I actually see what kind of packages we have, what the lineup's actually going to look like from training camp and all that. So linebacker wise, like in general linebacker, I'm probably going to go A-. Just because I like the depth we have. I like the the veteran presence. I like the leadership. I like what I've seen from OTAs. I'm loving the room so far. I'm loving it entirely. I can't wait to see what they bring as far as like a scheme wise, like what exactly the scheme's going to be and the packages they're going to bring. But the overall linebacker room, yeah, I'd probably give it an A-.
Yeah, this is going to be the thing with middle linebackers and outside linebackers. Some of these outside linebackers could be your edge rushers, and some of your outside linebackers can play in the coverage. So this is
that's why I want to see like what the actual scheme's gonna be. If Vrabel can give us some more, maybe at training camp, to see how they actually line up and where they're lining up at, then I can give a more confident, like specific linebacker spots.
So, Austin, do you think we should get rid of the outside linebacker slot, or can we just stick with linebackers?
I mean, that's just me. That's just me personally. The other two, y'all might have more in particular for specific positions. That's totally fine. That's just me. I don't know a whole lot on like specific linebacker positions, so that's just my overall take on the entire.
So I just separated the middle linebackers and the outside linebackers because I think, like Dustin was saying, there's so much uncertainty that you don't really. I feel like so many players can do so many things on this defense that you just don't know where they're going to line up. So, like when I was making my notes, I had to put some people who I thought were going to be better in the interior, some people that I thought were going to be better on the edge. So, like, I do have other notes if we do want to keep it. If we change it, that would change my overall grade. So it's really up to you guys. I don't mind. But if we are going to talk about it, I would like a little segment so I can just talk about, because I only talked about like Spillane in them.
Yeah,
but,
that's totally fine. I didn't go that in depth, like looking into like actual like the linebackers and looking into like their game and their play style and whatnot. So I don't have that best of a take on like in like the interior and exterior linebacker spots yet.
Yeah, but I'm looking at I know I sometimes don't trust Wikipedia, but I'm looking at some of the linebackers, and I'm just specifically talk about some of the specific linebackers that I really want to talk, particularly with Gibbons, Ellis, Mapu, Spillane, and Tavai. For me, I think that it really got a lot better, not just in leadership, but also in talent, considering that you brought in Spillane, a huge upgrade over Jawan Bentley. And we can all agree that I love Bentley. The problem with him is his injury. And I love his leadership, though, but I think Spillane, better talent, better leadership, in my opinion, and has a connection with Vrabel. That says it right there. I would give so basically, when it comes to like the middle linebackers, I wonder let me find out who the assistant coach for the inside for the linebacker for the so it's Zach Kerr, who is currently the acting defensive coordinator in place of Terrell Williams at this point. He's been doing a decent job with cooking up with the linebackers, considering that the old outside linebacker, I don't think there was like a specific outside or inside linebackers coach, if I could remember, because we only just have one linebackers coach. If Andy, can you fact check this for me? If we had one linebackers coach last year, and it has to be Hightower, because this year we have two different linebacker coaches. Or I can check this myself. No. I lied. So basically, Dante Hightower, I lied. You're good, Andy. I got it. So the outside linebackers last year was Drew Wilkins, and the inside linebackers was none other than our good old buddy Dante Hightower. So basically, when you have Zach Kerr, who I don't know much into Zach Kerr, if I can look up who he is.
Or worked with Vrabel.
Let me just go into NBC Sports Boston real quick, just so that I don't hope. So he chose Zach linebacker, and he so basically he worked with Mike Vrabel in Tennessee.
Correct.
So basically he's there's nothing I know that Mike Vrabel and Terrell Williams praised the hell out of this guy, considering that he has done, even though he is currently the inside linebackers coach, he's also the acting defensive coordinator, which really helps considering that he has experience under Mike Vrabel. So this is actually going to be great for the middle linebackers. Roster wise, I would give this an A-, but this could all change if we see how well the defense performs. Because last year, when we lost Bentley, I would have given the middle linebackers a C- based off of performance and based off of coaching and regression. But now I can push it back to like a B+ to an A- for like the middle linebackers. So there you go. But now let's head on to the outside linebackers, and you may refer to this edge rushers, which includes Landry, Swinson, Chason, Landry, Swinson, Chason,
Anthony Jennings, Elijah Ponder,
Yeah.
Cam Riley.
Monty Rice. Yes, and Cam Riley. But I'll start off with you, Andy, on these guys.
Okay, so let me start off with Braden Swinson, the rookie. Taken about double, taken far behind where he was expected to be taken in the draft. I think he was 77th overall per Daniel Jeremiah and wound up being drafted at 147th out of, I'm going to say he was out of Cal, but that wasn't out of Cal. Oh, jeez. He's not, jeez. Braden Swout of LSU. So, played on the opposite side of Will Campbell. 22. His stats last year. He played in 13 games, so he's reliable. He's sturdy. Combined tackles 58, 3 passes defended, and 2 forced fumbles. So that was, decent stats for a college edge rusher / outside linebacker. You've got Harold Landry, who, like I said, had 9 sacks last season. Vrabel guy, came over from the Titans, another underrated player. If I go here, Harold Landry, PFF. His overall grade was a 70.5. His run defense was an 82.2. So Vrabel's really, really clear, on stopping the run with these guys. And he was our first signing overall last season. So Harold Landry, I think I like the fit so far. So good with Harold Landry. And again, like we've all alluded to, these guys are versatile. They can play pure edge rusher, or they can play outside linebacker, which are, kind of similar positions. Their roles are both basically is pass rushers to rush the quarterback. And what were the other guys you mentioned, Dustin? I'm so sorry. I can't. Dao. Sorry. No, I was asking Dao. Sorry about that.
Oh, sorry. I was muted. But I was like, there's Chason, the former first-round pick for the Jaguars.
Chason, who was out. So Chason, I believe, came over from the Raiders, if I'm not mistaken.
And it was drafted first-round pick by the Jaguars.
First-round pick by the Jaguars, exactly. Again, he's reliable. He had 1 pick last season, 2 passes defended, a forced fumble, 8 quarterback hits, so he knows how to get to the quarterback. But, a red flag for me on these guys is kind of, I guess, is depth, if you can have that much depth at separating Mike and outside linebackers. So all things considered, we've got a promising but unknown rookie. Harold Landry, I think, will bring a lot to this defense. Austin, you mentioned some other guys, lower down the ladder. Again, I'm forgetting who they were.
You got Jennings. Why? You got Jennings.
Jennings, wait.
It's Anthony Jennings, Elijah
Jennings,
Ponder, and Cam Riley.
Elijah Ponder. Cam Riley is gonna. I think he was one of our UDFAs, wasn't he?
He was one of our UDFAs.
Yeah, I think he'll be, pretty much. I'm gonna call him an also
out of Florida State.
So out of Florida State. Yeah, again, here we are. He's sturdy. 47
so
combined tackles. He's got a pick. He's an outside chance to make the team. Is Cam Riley, but again, we are talking rookie here. Anthony Jennings, you'll probably want to keep on the roster just for veteran purposes. He's 27. So
I didn't mean to interrupt Andy, but I was going to say with Cam Riley, he does have connections with Joshua Farmer, considering that both went to Florida State.
Yeah, you're right. His run defense grade, again, Anthony Jennings at a decent run defense grade, 24th out of 211 edge rushers, defensive end / outside linebackers with a 73. So, I guess, all things considered, B- for me on outside linebacker.
A-, you said?
B-.
Oh, okay, B-. B- for Mr. Scholten. How about you, Dustin? How about you, Austin?
I think this is a very capable edge rush unit, obviously led by Landry, which, he's a highly vocal player. He showed steady improvement. He got injured not too long ago, but he's come back and clearly played well.
He's a proven leader,
he can rush. Yeah, he was the leader of those Tennessee defenses, him and that D lineman's name escapes me, but
Simmons.
Jeffrey Simmons, which I think Milton Williams is going to be that role for Harold Landry, and I think that's why Harold Landry is actually going to excel this year. Could have kind of a career resurgence. He looked very fluid dropping into coverage, so this is kind of where I compared where our middle linebackers are kind of a detriment, where I actually see Landry as a positive with some of those zone coverage looks. And yeah, it's just a veteran presence, and he's going to be very critical to the way these young pass rush players develop. Because outside of Harold Landry, you're looking at a lot of uncertainties. You're looking at Anthony Jennings, who, while has been on the team and who's been, a steady rotational piece, good versus the run, and a core special teamer for us. It's now hey, Anthony Jennings, we're giving you, realistically, it's Harold Landry on one side, Anthony Jennings on the other. Behind that, it's K'Lavon Chaisson, who up until this point was kind of a bust. First round pick, and he's already, off the team that took him. And I think he has the physical tools. It's just the consistency and being able to diagnose the play on the fly that's still kind of lagging. I see him just more as a rotational, but he's definitely piqued the coach's interest, because I think a lot of them are looking at K'Lavon Chaisson. There's a lot of untapped potential in there, and maybe he just needs the right scheme and the right staff to bring it out of him. Braden Swinson, as you alluded to, Andy, steal of the draft. I think if this guy plays anything short of solid, it's going to be looked at as a steal. He saw a lot of snaps at the strong side in defensive end hybrid looks. A lot of his teammates have been praising him for effort, and he showed a lot of flashes in OTAs. He does need a bit of refinement, but his motor, like his willingness to like keep going, his energy, and his overall length, like his wingspan, stand out when he's going head to head against our, O-line. I don't think it's starters, but very solid. Elijah Ponder, really only seen him stand out on kick return type of coverage units. And similarly, like Cam Riley, I think he's a good physical player, but he seems kind of stiff in space. And I think both of those guys would need an amazing preseason to even survive the final cuts. I'm going to give this group, just because of so much uncertainty, I'll give them a B-. I think they could be on par with what the middle linebackers are going to give us. But outside of Landry, we are kind of looking at it like, okay, who's going to step up?
If you're waiting for my take, I already told you I graded the overall linebacker room, remember? I can't hear you, Dal. I can't hear you.
I think Dal's muted. I'm sitting here like, hello.
No, I was like, okay. I was gonna say, if you were to give do you want me to skip your turn, Dustin? Since we already know you already gave a grade of an A-, so I'll put it again if you want, but for you,
yeah, because I need to see like what they got in training camp, like overall, like where they line people up at, and maybe do some more research on my own and stuff like that.
Well, once again, why do I always do to myself with muting myself for some? Is it because I'm at home right now and there's a bunch of background noise? But whatever, I'll get to my take on the outside linebackers. But I thought it was a lot better than what we had last year. Like last year, you had like your Josh Uches, you forced Keon White to be your edge rusher, and I'm telling you, the depth last year at outside linebacker was so barren. We were last in pass rushing, basically. I don't know the exact stats, but our outside linebackers were Jennings and some guy named Titus Leo. And then you had Dietrich Wise and Keon White as your edge rushers. So basically, we were so barren when it comes to like outside linebackers. But I felt like there was a lot of improvement talent-wise when it comes to the draft, but I was really just a little disappointed with the edge rushers. Like, I love Brady Swinson. Swinson is my guy. But you could have done more with like edge rushers. Like Jack Sawyer was there. Kyle Kennard was there. The guy out of BC, who's now with the Cowboys, was there. Heck, even
it's Donovan Izaraku.
Who's now with the Cowboys. And then Landon Jackson, one of my favorite edge rushers, now with the Buffalo Bills. We could have got that guy, but I'm not upset with Brandon Swinson. Brandon Swinson was my guy if we don't get Sawyer or Kennard. And I remember we react to this, Dustin, during the draft night. We were one of these guys who wanted like Kennard or Sawyer, but
yeah, I was particularly high on Sawyer.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I felt a little better when we have better talent and better depth at edge rusher than I did last year, because last year it was just barren, I would say. But for me, when it comes to like this outside linebackers, I would agree on all you guys that the depth outside of Landry is kind of, there's so much unknown when it comes to like the depth. Like, we don't know what Chaseon's going to do, even though he's on a 1-year deal. And yeah, he did better with the Raiders, considering that I think the defensive coordinator for Raiders was the former linebackers coach of the Patriots, Patrick Graham. So basically the defense did look better, but there still needs to be more proof for Chaseon to be that first round pick that he won, first round pick by the Jaguars. Then again, Jaguars are a shit show of an organization. They try to make it to like what's next, what's left of Saxonville. But unfortunately, they can't replicate that. But I would give this a B plus. No, not a B. A B for the outside linebackers, just because I think the talent and the depth got better. We need to see it, especially that now you have Mike Smith as your outside linebackers coach. And I gotta tell you, the linebackers, look what Mike Smith had to work with in Minnesota. If I can find, let me just quickly look. And also, he was the outside linebackers. He was the linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens for 5 seasons. And look who he worked with for the Vikings when it comes to like the Let me just quickly look up the 2023 Vikings. He worked with Danielle Hunter. He worked with Andre Carter, Patrick Jones. The notable one is Danielle Hunter. So basically, if you can do what you did with Danielle Hunter, I think you could do it with Landry, Swinson, and Chason. But otherwise, I'm going to give this a B for the outside linebackers. But and there we go. Here are the linebackers, and now we get to one of my favorite positions, the secondary, starting with the cornerbacks. And I'll start with you, Andy, as always. What are your thoughts on the cornerbacks, even though we already did a discussion on the cornerbacks in the previous positional live stream?
Cornerback is, dare I say, cornerback is one of the most cut and dried positions on this team. Your one is Gonzo, who name wide receiver 1 here. Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill can take him out of the game. Now, granted, when one of your only capable pass defenders is Christian Gonzalez, that, needless to say, is not going to win you a game. So what do the Patriots do? They bring in a solid cornerback 2, borderline cornerback 1 in Carlton Davis III, former Buccaneer and now Detroit Lion, who won a championship with the Bucs back in, I believe it was 2021 and 22. So, I mean, now, like, I watched an interesting clip last night with a Pats guy on Sports Chat I forget what the name of his Chat Sports, and he says, okay, the opposing offense is now going to have to think about, okay, I've got my wide receiver 1 covered by Christian Gonzalez, whom we've talked about him till the cows come home, top 5 quarterback in the league. I'm pretty sure we all believe that. And it's like, okay, I got Carlton Davis right over here to cover either my wide receiver 2 or to undercut a route that Gonzo may miss. Not that he misses much of anything. He had those 2 picks against May in the first OTA, and I mean, he just moves with such effortlessness. I mean, who doesn't love to see Christian Gonzalez just sprinting down a football field? And I will be forever grateful, praise be, to the Washington Commanders for drafting Emmanuel Forbes. So those are our 2, main cornerbacks, and then we do have Christian Ellis. No, not Christian Ellis. Shoot. Oh boy. Help me out here.
Is it a cornerback?
Yeah, it's a cornerback. Don't tell me. I gotta look it up.
Okay, but in the meantime, while we look up Andy's let's answer Molly's question.
It's Alex Austin, but yeah, go ahead and answer her question first.
You can answer this question too, but what defensive position do you think has improved the most?
For me, when you consider the load that's being taken off Gonzo's plate, it's cornerback. because you have, like I said, you've got, and you do have Alex Austin, who is a completely capable corner as well. The most overall improved position is going to be the defensive line, especially over 2024, because you had basically no Christian Barmore, and you couldn't stop the run to save your lives. And I said that earlier. So the most improved overall defensive position for me would be the defensive line. But in terms of taking the load off the plate for Christian Gonzalez, it's cornerback.
How about you, Austin?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that because I think if you look at our defense as a whole, it's like a one big giant lock. And it's almost as if Milton Williams and Christian Barmore are the key to unlock it. And now that they're back, I think our entire defense is going to flourish as a result.
Dustin?
Yeah, that's pretty much the same answer for me. With the defensive line, we got guys that can plug up gaps and get to the quarterback that can kind of get the quarterback off balance or cause the offense to get a little cute, try to make some plays in other ways that they're not used to, and it can also make it easier for our cornerback room to get some picks from like them getting the quarterback's face and stuff like that. So yeah, I would definitely have to say the defensive line is probably our biggest upgrade.
Yeah, I agree with all of you guys. The defensive line, in my opinion, has to be one of the most improved because Mike Vrabel said so in his press conference. Want to build up the trenches? He basically built up the trenches through free agency and the draft, and I was really pleased about it. Could our answers change? Absolutely. Based off of
100%.
training camp, based off of training camp, based off preseason, and based off of the regular season. But we'll get to those as time goes on, starting in September when we start seeing the regular season revealing to us, and also with the 53-man roster, which we will be doing coming Monday. So you should be excited for that. But continue with your grading, Andy.
Yeah.
For the
So
context.
Alex Austin, looking at PFF right now, is pretty much, fairly, I don't want to say quite clear cut, but is a decent coverage corner, 63.9, which was 85th out of 222 ranked cornerbacks. So at the upper middle of the pack there on coverage grade. His overall grade was only a 61.1, which was 115 out of 122. So Alex Austin, I think, again, we have a new cornerbacks coach in Justin Hamilton, who came over here from Indianapolis. Not that the Colts have had the best cornerback situation in the league.
They had the worst.
Ranking worse than us. So, that is could be, a slight red flag there.
But he was the assistant cornerbacks coach, so it's not like he was the main cornerbacks coach. So
exactly. Kobe Minor, obviously Mr. Irrelevant out of
Memphis.
Out of Memphis. Thank you. I knew it was somewhere in Tennessee. I haven't, as I've alluded to before, I was not too excited about this pick.
I wasn't either.
He could be, I don't want to say he's a rookie and he's just, I have to say, Austin, I know you say you liked him coming out of college, but he's one of those guys we'll see how it looks in training camp. The real guy on the outside looking in here is probably going to be Marcus Jones. He did have that wonderful kickoff return. No, it was Jones? A punt return. It was a punt return against the Jets a couple of years ago that won us that game. But he's 26. This will be his 27th year coming up. It's just, and I don't think it seems like Vrabel is not a huge fan of his. But so there is, I guess, especially on the lower end of this roster, you have a little bit of depth between. Actually, no, you don't have much depth at all if you're talking about only Austin, Minor, and
the
Then there's Dial.
Right, and then Marcellus Dial. There, you got a little depth piece there in Marcellus Dial.
And then there's Battle, who joined the
and,
team last year.
Marcellus Dial's young. He's only 24. He was drafted in 2024 in the 4th round. I don't remember him. I mean, he didn't he pretty much just play mostly garbage time last year, if I'm not mistaken. No.
For Battle or for Dial?
No. Dial started 17 games.
For Battle, I think it was the final game.
Okay, yeah. That's what I thought. And Marcellus Dial, overall grade 53 for pretty lousy in coverage, decent on run defense. So with those, as much as I love Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis, thank you. Alex Austin is decent, but I mean, there's so much unknown depth, if you know what I mean, at the bottom of this at the bottom of this cornerback list. I was going to give it a straight A on my initial thought, and I was like, no, I cannot weight those top 2 guys too much, and it's a coin flip between a B+ and an A-, because of the outside looking in for Marcus Jones and the rookiness of Kobe Minor and Marcellus Dial, who still really knows who he is. I'm going to be a little rough on these guys and weight the bottom and the middle and say B+ on cornerback.
B+. Before I get to your take, Austin, I want to react to Paper Plane's comment on Kobe Minor. He said that I think Kobe Minor is a developmental project, but he came up big in some games in Memphis. There is some serious potential to him. To be honest, I haven't looked at any of Minor's tape during college because I was more with the irrelevant pick. I thought we would get like a Willie Lampkin or a Bryson Nesbitt or a Joshua Gray or a Jake Runingstool from yesterday's live stream. But if in my opinion, I would rather get a need than getting a body cam. But we'll talk about that later. And then he said that Dial is more on the special team side. Yeah, he could be more of a special teamer. Some of these cornerbacks can be special teamers, but we want cornerbacks to play for the defense as well, not just for special teams. But I'll get to your take, Austin.
Yeah, so I really love this cornerback group. I think it's a deep group. I think they're pretty versatile, and I think we have Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis, who are definitely starting caliber corners in this league. I mean, Marcus Jones has been a great slot for us. A lot of our strengths are like press and zone coverage and just the matchup flexibility that those corners provide for us. Vrabel, he preached. He wants us to do cat coverage. You cover that cat, I'll cover this one. So it's like we want to be able to go up against the Cincinnati Bengals of the world and be like, okay, Gonzo, you got Jamar Chase, and okay, Carlton, you got T. Higgins, and then we make IV Sosa. I can't pronounce that third wide receiver for the Bengals, but it's like, okay, he has to beat us. Yosivash. Yeah. So it's like, if the Bengals have to beat us with that guy, I'm celebrating, right? Biggest area of concern for the cornerbacks are the injuries. Carlton Davis is still kind of recovering from that broken jaw. And Marcus Jones last year, he wasn't healthy for every game. And I think a positive cornerback season would be to see those guys still playing in week 17 and, missing very limited time. I can understand missing a game or two.
And,
but we
and
really
even
can't afford
Gonzo went
anything
out with
more
that
than
injury his rookie year after 4 games.
Right. So the injury concerns are there. I also don't like I do think there's depth at the cornerback position. I just don't like that it's late round depth. I would have liked us to go out and, sign someone like a Jair Alexander. I know I was high on him, but the Ravens pretty much instantly scooped him up. And that Ravens secondary is going to be nasty because of it. I still think someone like an Asante Samuel Jr. could make such a big difference to this defense. If we could just go grab someone like him.
Big Asante Samuel Jr. guy in that bad blood with Belichick is gone.
Also, maybe a reunion with Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah, I was really high on that. Specifically, more that he plays more at the safety spot now too. He would have been a very big help in that regard, and also with some cornerback help if need be.
Yeah, I think our team's in a position where you can't necessarily sit here and be like everything's perfect the way it should be, the way it is. I think every group, no matter how you look at it, could potentially be upgraded. As far as, like I said, I won't go too much over Christian Gonzalez. I mean, he's our future star. He's kills it in one-on-ones, and he's just expected to shadow the top wide receivers this year. Carlton Davis, veteran, Super Bowl champion, has been seen coaching some of the younger DBs during some of the breaks at OTAs. Adds a lot of size. I mean, I think he has one of the largest wingspans out of all the corners, so that's going to be amazing because even when he's a step behind, he's really not. And I think that's what's the best part about him, because a lot of wide receivers get deceived, like, oh, I'm ahead of him, and then next thing you know, he's picking them off. Marcus Jones, undersized, but has been an electric returner for us and a slot defender. He could also be used in gadget packages on offense. Not saying that will happen, but hey, anything to get the offense going is a plus. Alex Austin and Isaiah Bolden have been running with the second unit as far as I could tell, and it seems like they'll be kind of the immediate depth pieces behind those three. Beyond that, I don't really know. I was high on Kobe Minor coming out, and I do see the potential there, but I just hope his Mr. Irrelevant title doesn't come to fruition and he truly becomes Mr. Irrelevant and we see him working at the local Walmart next season. You know what I mean? DJ James, same thing, starts one game, kind of don't know where he falls. Marcellus Dial has been physical at the line, impress. But again, he's a developmental prospect, but he does have upside. Brandon Crossley has contributed in special teams. So same thing as Dial. It seems like they're kind of fringe, make the team, got to prove themselves in preseason. There's another guy called Jordan Polk, which I couldn't find any information on, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to go.
Yeah, he's just a body at this point.
Team. Yeah. Overall, though, I have to give this cornerback room my highest grade with an A. And I think I would give it an A+ if there wasn't the injury concerns. But I think the talent, the skill set, everything we need is there. And you add in that pass rush that we got this season. And I think these guys are just going to be able to play the way they need to play.
Interesting. Also, I want to get to Paper Wave's take on Asante Samuel before we get to Dustin's grades. He said that Samuel Jr. has a significant neck injury, and he really wasn't a big contributor with the Chargers. Interesting. Even though that for some reason, why is everybody hyping up Asante Samuel Jr.? For some reason, he is a decent cornerback, excuse me. I don't know if he would contribute to the secondary. Because I'm sworn when did Asante Samuel had a neck injury? Neck injury. Okay, so he had a neck injury in April and is waiting for a July checkup before signing with the team for 2025 season. The surgery was related to a stinger injury that he dealt with during the 2024 season and was limited to just 4 games. So that could be a factor for why Asante Samuel Jr. could be a question mark. But then again, I want Stephon Gilmore just because we need some veteran presence. But then again, you already have Davis. But I'll get to your. Let's get to Dustin's grades on this.
Yeah, so this one's gonna be kind of short and sweet for me. I mean, you got your solid 1-2s. You got your Gonzalez and your Carlton Davis. I've already talked about it with you multiple times now, but I'm very excited for that Bengals game that we get, assuming both of them are healthy and both the receivers and the Bengals are healthy, because that's going to be a fun game. I feel like it's going to be to watch. Watching our corners going up against the Bengals, I feel like it's going to be a really fun game, assuming there's health, because my main concern with this unit is probably going to be health. I mean, even with Christian Gonzalez, he had that pretty significant injury coming into his rookie season. If he can give us one more season without any significant injuries, it'll really relieve me a lot more. Carlton Davis had something pulled up on his injury history. I can't find it now, along with everybody else that I had.
I can pull up Carlton Davis's injury history.
I remember it was like one injury. It was like a grade 2 groin, and then there was like
it was a grade 2 groin, and it was a groin strain, grade 2. It was during.
It was like 2 other grade 1s, I believe. I can't remember exactly.
Leg quad, inguinal hip pull. He sustained a concussion in 2023, and then that jaw injury.
Yeah, that's right. That was his most recent, if I remember correctly. But he has that injury history. I mean, Marcus Jones, he's solid for what he is at slot. Not my favorite, but he does do his job fairly well. Outside of those three, I mean, you got some depth in like Bolden and maybe Dial. It's really the depth for me that's kind of concerning, because like if Carlton Davis was to go down, I'm more confident Gonzalez staying healthy than Davis right now. I'd have to see him play a few games. But if like Davis was to go down, I'm not really sure who's going to be able to help out Gonzalez on the second spot. I feel like that would be a bit of a weakness for us at that point. I would love if we could find maybe another possible. I don't know if there's any other cornerbacks out there that we can maybe look at for maybe like a camp battle or something, just to kind of see if we can get something out of some of these guys. But I'm loving our starters, like our starting cornerback in Davis and Gonzalez. That those guys are going to be solid pieces for us. Gonzalez being our star, our blue chip guy, Davis being the veteran, can maybe help some of these younger guys out. But I'm probably gonna go a B+, just because it's really unknown with the depth. Honestly, at this point, I'm a little uncertain with the depth. I'm liking our starters. It's just beyond that, I'm kind of worried a little bit.
Yeah. Initially, I thought that I loved the cornerback group, considering that's one of the more exciting positions to take a look at. But I do agree with your guys' take, considering that depth is going to be a concern if one of these guys go down. And then another factor is going to be health, considering that Gonzalez had a shoulder injury against the Cowboys. Then the next season, if I'm not mistaken, against the Chargers, he had a concussion. And now he's on to his third season. And if he gets another injury, Gonzalez, then we got issues, man. With Carlton Davis, we're not surprised he has injury issues, considering that if he can stay healthy within his 3-year deal, we should be fine. Alex Austin, same thing with he had injuries too, and I think he had an injury against the Jets, if I'm not mistaken. He was promising after that Buffalo game in garbage time in 2023, but he had an ankle. Alex Austin had an ankle injury during that game against the Jets. So yeah, week 4 he had an ankle injury. So basically he had that ankle injury. So if that ankle gets healed, Alex also should be fine. Marcus Jones, he had several injuries. That's why he's concerning, and that's why we should not give him a 5th-year deal, considering that there's so much. He had let me see what his injuries were. Because
Isaiah Bolden wasn't a first-round pick, was he?
You know what? Never mind. He was a 3rd round. He was a 3rd round.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure he wasn't a first-round pick.
I wish we got a first round.
Yeah, for McDuffie, and I wouldn't mind Gonzalez and McDuffie, but over Strange. But then again, he did have that hip injury. He had a torn labrum, so that's concerning for Marcus Jones. And then for Isaiah Bolden, we know he had that scare in that preseason against the Packers, so health is going to be a really concerning. So originally it was going to be an A+. But because after the injuries, but Paperwaves did say that, Gonzo's injuries aren't significant, like that concussion are freak accidents that can happen to anyone at any time. But I wouldn't say that there were injury concerns. Gonzo's shoulder was the first surgery. Interesting. But, oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm going to have to give this a B. Just because I love the cornerback room. I love the starters. The depth is going to be issues, just similar to the tight end. It's similar to the tight end room. We have good starters. Depth will be a concern, but I'm going to have to give this a B. And Paper Waves suggested that we should trade for Jalen Ramsey. And here's my problem with Jalen Ramsey. He's getting up in age. He didn't do much for the Dolphins. I get it. He produced much for the Rams, but what are your thoughts on trading for Jalen Ramsey? Because I know he's linked back to the Rams.
I mean, he's a solid veteran out there right now. I'm looking on PFF right now. He's 30 years old. Overall grade 76.9. Coverage grade 71.9.
He'll be 31 in October, kind of getting up there. I mean,
he'd be a solid veteran, maybe a depth piece. I don't see us really. I wouldn't see us trading for him. In all honesty, I don't really know what his contract's like. I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't know if I'd trade for him, but he would be decent for depth. He would be a good veteran because from what I've heard and read, he's kind of toned it down with his mentality, the way he used to have it, where he was a bit of a talker and whatnot. He's kind of toned down on that a little bit more. He's solid. I just couldn't see us trading for him. I definitely wouldn't trade for him.
And then here is Paperwave's proposal: move Ramsey to a slot as a slot corner. So like
I can see it.
So like he said,
I could definitely see that. Yeah.
Correct. But that's
it. I'm seeing more. I'm seeing more likely that he'll go back to the Rams. Like if he was to get cut, I could see him going back to the Rams if they offered him a deal.
Yeah, and in my opinion, I think Stephon Gilmore would have been a better option. But then again, he's up.
Yeah.
If we were to get Stephon Gilmore, I would give him a 1-year deal for $3 million. What are your proposals on? What are your thoughts on that contract?
1 year, $3 million. I mean, even though he's up there in years, I mean, yeah, he was a stud when he was here. What was that? I forget what the big thing was. Stephon Gilmore. What was he? Sepoy or something? Comeback player of the year one season.
No, he was defensive player of the year the final year with Tom Brady, and then 2020 he had some sort of injury, and the worry was that Gilmore wanted an extension, but the problem was Coach Harry Hoodie Tyrants overpaid for players, and Stephon Gilmore would be really expensive.
Oh, that sounds like a bird. Anyway, yeah, I'd be down with that deal, 100%.
I wouldn't be against it. I certainly wouldn't be against it if he would come for us for 1 year for $3 million. I wouldn't be against it.
But that would depend if Mike Vrabel
if
really
we're
wants
If we're looking at trades, though, I would like to say that somebody I think we could get on cheap from the Titans, L'Jarius Sneed. So talk about somebody that went from the Chiefs playing top tier. Like you would look back at their run. So what? They won Super Bowl I don't know exactly 52, 55 and 57 or something. Well, however it is, I know they won back to
wasn't
back.
55.
He's a
That
Super
was
Bowl
Tampa
champion.
Bay. I know that was Tampa Bay. Took 55.
You know what I mean?
Did he have an injury last year? Did he have an injury last year by chance?
For who?
No, he was terrible. He ranked 230th out of like.
I was about to say, I'm looking at it.
corners.
I'm looking at him right now on PFF, and my God, we could definitely.
So
get
that's
a
what I'm saying. I
piece.
feel like we could, we could fleece him or something. Like that's something I've been keeping an eye on.
I mean, what makes you? I'd be curious. What makes you think he'd be a good fit for us then?
I was a huge fan of getting
On the Titans, he's. Oh, go ahead.
I think the problem with Legere Sneed is that when the Titans stupidly gave him the dumbest contracts I have ever seen, I couldn't just stop laughing at the Tennessee Titans, considering that. I'm gonna just look up Legere Sneed.
I'm wondering if he got misutilized because his highest grade was run defense at 57.7. That's his.
I have no idea what the hell Tennessee was doing.
He had a lingering.
I think with the Chiefs, he didn't.
So
I don't think he needed to be the number one on the Chiefs.
Yeah, he had a lingering quad injury that significantly impacted his playing time. Initially diagnosed as a bruise, the injury later revealed to be more of a serious quad strain, requiring a bone marrow injection and a leg brace. Was injured in November after only playing 5 games. Thank goodness Mike Vrabel's out of that. Overrated.
Sorry, I do kind of want to move on.
Yeah, let's quickly move on. Let's head over to the safeties. We'll discuss this. We'll discuss this later, but let's head over to the safeties, Andy. Let's quickly get started with the safeties because I love the safety room, but I want to get your thoughts, Andy.
Interesting. Okay, that's okay. All right, that's right. You were a fan of the Craig Woodson pick, weren't you? Or were you?
I was not initially, but after doing a film analysis on him.
After watching some footage of Craig Woodson, I mean, yeah, he is. Again, he was like Daniel Jeremiah's 90th ranked prospect, and
you said something like an 80-something, if I'm not an 87 for Craig Woodson, if I'm not mistaken.
What do you mean an 87 for Craig Woodson?
Like for where he was going to be drafted.
Is it 87?
On Daniel Jeremiah. Let me take a look at Daniel.
I thought it was
Jeremiah.
90, but anyway, yeah, I mean, I would have initially at that pick maybe gone left guard, defensive end. Like Austin, I remember you saying this. I wasn't too thrilled we went safety there, though I kind of thought we did need one. But he kind of, Woodson kind of balled out in OTAs, man. So here's a Mike Dussault article.
Also, I heard about Craig Woodson from Mike Reese's article that he was nicked. No, it was not from an article. It was from a. Yes, it was from the article. I was right. It was from the. Who was it? He was nicknamed the Eraser.
Yes.
Yeah. And according to Ryan Cowden, I watched his press conference over and over again. The reason why they like Craig Woodson, considering to Kevin Byard and the Tennessee Titans, and they liked him because of his communication. Because he was a good communicator, similar to what he did in Cal.
Woodson, the 4th-round pick out of Cal, has been working alongside veterans Kyle Duggar and Jabril Peppers during OTAs, and Scott Booker, safeties coach. I actually like Scott Booker. Says the environment is fostering development for the entire group. Quote, they've been really good about helping each other out and sharing information. I mean, this is just what we've been hearing about, with most position groups out of OTAs, definitely. The O-line, the D-line, wide receivers, cornerbacks, and now safeties. Again, moving on here. Woodson is being pushed to expand his game, quote, working different positions, trying to get better at special teams, and taking on the challenge. He is very coachable. Coachable is not exactly a word we've been hearing out of the Patriots locker room of late. So, and I think that, that is a plus with Craig Woodson. Moving on to the veterans, of course, they are Kyle Duggar and Jabril Peppers. Jabril Peppers, I mean, this the whole assault and battery charge thing back in the winter and all that Michigas, domestic violence. There we go. But so if I just quick look up his stats, I believe he had decent stats last season. PFF. Here we go. 82-3 overall, 7th out of 171 safeties.
Holy cow.
Yeah. His pass rush grade was not great, 46-3. His run defense was 74-7, so and his coverage grade was 81-7, so he brings major versatility to the Patriots safety room, even and this is even at the age of 29. This will be his 30-year-old season coming up. So, on the old side, but definitely on an underrated safety. If we go over to Kyle Duggar, strong safety. So we have fairly clear cut. This is what I like about the safety room now. Fairly clear cut, strong safeties, I believe, in Kyle Duggar, 6'1", 216, and the oh God, help me out here.
What was the question?
Strong safety, not weak safety. Shit.
Strong
free
safety
and free safety,
yeah, free safety.
And free safety and Craig Woodson. Kyle Duggar is again 29. He's a little younger than Jabril Peppers.
No, they're both the same age.
They are about the same age. They're both 29. Duggar's overall grade was 44-3.
Yeah, because of that injury that he had.
Right, because of that injury. So again, we're talking Kyle Duggar.
Hopefully he can get back in shape, especially that we
because he started 13 games in 2024 and then went down with that injury. He did have 4 passes defended and a forced fumble. But if I just go back and look at Jabril Peppers, I believe Peppers is fairly reliable, and Woodson is not much of an injury concern. Only 6 games out of Jabril Peppers. No.
That's because of the legal issues or someone.
6 games
I
out
think
of
it was
Jabril.
a mixture of the injury and the legal issues. I think he also had an injury, didn't he?
Yeah, I think you're right. So, I mean,
and then originally we thought Martin Mapu would be a safety this upcoming season. Unfortunately, he went back to linebacker for some reason. I don't know.
But yeah, just to speed things up here, I'm going to give this safety room a B-. Now, let me just look up.
We also have Del Pettis.
Yeah, we do have Del Pettis.
Brendan Schooler, but he's more.
Brendan Schooler's really more a special teamer.
So to answer your question, Molly, this is a question directly to you, Andy. You would have to. So basically, all this information that Andy found is on PFF. So please look up PFF.
Yeah, the thing is, Molly, you're gonna have to sign up for a subscription to get some of these stats. Although a good place to get free stats is ProFootballReference.com. So
I could send you the link to you, Molly, if you want.
Yeah, go ahead, Doug. That would be great. Thank you.
And then after the grade for this? So you gave the room a B minus, you said?
I did. I gave the room a B minus. Yes.
Okay. So I'll post a link for you, Molly. And actually, so before I get to your grades, Austin, you might want to respond to this question.
All
This is for
right.
you, Austin.
So I think night and day difference, right? Like, I think the Titans' biggest mistake was ever letting Mike Vrabel walk out of that building. The fact that they fired that man when
I think the biggest mistake was.
Huh? You think it was that big a mistake firing Vrabel?
I think there was more mistakes.
That last season, I mean, granted, it was not his idea to let Derrick Henry and AJ Brown walk. I believe he wanted to keep both of them.
Yes,
actually,
well,
another
obviously,
big mistake.
but that's not. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Another big mistake was not letting Ryan Cowden be the next general manager, and instead you got Ray Carthon, and I think the owner Amy Shrunk favored Rand Carthon over Mike Vrabel, which was the dumbest idea I have ever heard, and then had the audacity to get Brian Callahan, who never called plays for Cincinnati. It was an entire shit show, and also overpaying for Calvin Ridley, overpaying for L'Jarius Sneed, overpaying for that left tackle for the Steelers. Titans are a shit show, and also not doing a good job of developing Will Levis is a laughingstock. But let's get to your grades, Austin.
Yeah, to just finish that though, I just wanted to say, like, I think it was a multitude of things. I do think Vrabel was the last kind of straw. So I guess that's why I think it's the biggest thing, because I think AJ Brown going away sucks, and I think Derrick Henry going away sucks, and all these other things, right? But by them getting rid of Vrabel, that's truly like the end of that era. So they kind of just gave up on everything. But I can see your points. So with safety, I think arguably they could be just as, if not more, physical and hard-hitting than our interior linebacker group. And I think they bring a lot of hybrid versatility. I do think we're lacking in deep field coverage. Like, since Devin McCourty left, we haven't had that coverage safety that we need. And I still, like, looking at this roster, I still don't think we have that. The hope, I guess, is Craig Woodson can fall into that. But right now we have Kyle Duggar, who's, a physical tone setter, but beyond that, he's very inconsistent in coverage. He struggled in man coverage versus tight ends all last year, and he's even played more inside the box in 3 safety sets, so they don't even really see him playing as a deep safety in the third of the field. Jabril Pepper was somebody that saw a lot of reps at nickel and dime linebacker. And he brings a lot of energy and intensity. I mean, last year made a lot of plays. Of course, had the off the field shit that he was dealing with, but I think he's probably our most aggressive safety. And you just know, like, when he's ready to hit someone, he's going to hit someone, and it's going to strong chance of knocking the ball loose. Craig Woodson, 4th round pick, first one on day 3. Very promising. I could see this guy, once Duggar and Peppers are gone, just being the absolute leader of this defense. He's had good instincts, been praised by a lot of the coaches, and he has a lot of good burst, and most importantly, form tackling. Because I think a lot of what the coaching staff has tried to stress is physicality and tackling. And I think every player on this roster, defensive-wise, like solid form tackling, like textbook tackling.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Okay. So I think Craig Woodson is, while a lot of us kind of looked at it like maybe a reach, on day 3, you kind of just go and get your guys. So, and since then, I've been very pleased with a lot of the stuff he's been doing in OTAs. Marcus Epps, a guy coming off of some injuries. He is an experienced backup, and out of this safety group, I think he does have the most play deep in the middle of the field, but he does excel in the box as well. Like, I definitely compare him more to a Duggar with the run support. He has a lot of leadership. He took a lot of second team reps, so they clearly don't see this guy as a starter, but he's going to be rotating in. Beyond that, Del Pettis, Jalen Hawkins, solid third unit type of people. Will probably make the team. Brendan Schooler. I think it's funny that he's even listed as a safety. He's pretty much just a full-time special teamer. Marte Mapu, we don't really know where he's going to end up. Linebacker or safety. I know they swapped him to linebacker, but I think it's nice that he can play both. But he's just very raw in how he plays. I'm going to give this group a B just because I do think it's a solid group. But Craig Woodson, outside of him, like, we don't know what's going to happen with Duggar and Peppers come next year. We could be seeing a whole new safety room just because of the age.
So a B for Mr. Lesage. How about you, Dustin?
Yeah, this one's also going to be pretty short. Really kind of, you got Duggar and you got Peppers. I mean, they're your solid veterans starting out there. Obviously the rookie and Craig Woodson, who I really believe is going to be able to, given time, I'm not saying it's going to happen this year. It's going to take some time for him to do it. But I really do feel like this guy, within time, as he progresses and learns more, he can really take over that Devin McCourty type role. Other than really that, there's not a whole lot as far as like the safety room. You got Jalen Hawkins. I mean, yeah, Marte Mapu might have said he's going back over to linebacker, but you never know. There might be points where they need him to play at safety, so there might be some times where he just doesn't have a choice. We don't really know for sure. Brandon Schooler, I mean, he's more of your special teams guy. Maybe they might give him some chances at safety. It really depends on how he does in training camp. I don't really know too much about these other guys like Marcus Epps, Del Pettis.
Del Pettis was the one who had that one sack on the Caleb Williams and then contributed on the special teams.
What did Marcus Epps up for? Was he on the team last year? I don't remember.
No, he was with the Raiders.
No, I can't remember for sure. But
and I think we went with the. If I can look up Marcus Epps, I also remember he did play for the Eagles as well. So yes, he played for the Vikings, Eagles, Raiders, and now with the Patriots. And he's like 29 years old.
Yeah, outside of like the three of got Kyler Duggar and Jabril Peppers being your solid veteran guys out there. And then you got Craig Woodson, who's going to hopefully morph into taking the spot. I would hope that he's going to be getting more of the spot in the free safety role, taking over that Devin McCourty type role. Given time, not saying it's going to happen right now. Given time, he needs some time to develop, obviously. But from what I've read up on his notes and seen him play, he definitely gives me that Devin McCourty type vibe. Given time, he can develop. I could see it. But overall grade, I'm probably going to give it probably a B. We got some solid guys. It's just going to be a matter of seeing more in training camp. But there is one thing that I do want to kind of address before we kind of go over to the special teams. There was a comment that I seen. I'm trying to find it. From Paper Waves, where he asked us if there was any way he could talk to us personally. And I don't know about you guys. I don't really use X or Insta all that much. I use Twitter a little bit, like getting some NFL news and whatnot. I don't really use Insta that much. But if there's anybody in here who wants to reach out to us or kind of talk to us, there is a wonderful Discord that you guys can join, which I have actually put the link for in here in the comments.
I'll explain this. So basically, all four of us are fans of Patriots Global, and if you don't know who Patriots Global is, his name is Colby Cochran. Excuse me. So he's the YouTuber of Patriots Global. So basically, all four of us are huge fans of. I would say huge fans of him. We're like his subscribers and followers.
Yeah.
If you take a look at Colby's channel, Patriots Global, there is a link to his Discord page. In there, you can chat with so many Patriots fans in that Patriots Global Discord. And if you want to exclusively talk to us, we have our very own, I wouldn't say server yet, but we have our own chat, but you would have to chat with us through the Patriots Global Discord server if that's the case. So
I did put a link in the, if you want to highlight it, I did put a link
here
in there
is
for
the
them.
link to
If it's the right one. It is the right one, right?
let me go. Let me get the link to.
I'm pretty sure it is. Because I know I've had to share it before.
Yeah. I can also check. We'll do that. We'll do that later at the very. We'll do that later at the very. But I just want to quickly get my grade in before we have to quickly move on to the safeties because I think it's getting late. But with the safety room, yeah, there's so much unknown when it comes to the safety rooms, especially with Duggar's performance last season. But that's because they misutilized him. They should have let him sit out because of that injury. We shouldn't let him play. Jabril Peppers, ever since he got captain, we thought that he would make some splashes, especially during that crappy season in 2020. During that crappy season in 2023, he proved us that he could be a worthy safety, and he earned that contract. Unfortunately, that legal issue, which I think he is acquitted of charge, I think he's safe. So I don't think so. He's not going to be guilty of anything. I don't think he's going to be arrested or go to prison for any of this. But we don't know what Mike Vrabel is going to be doing with Duggar or Peppers, considering that he never signed or drafted any of those players. So that's going to be in a bubble right there. Del Pettis, he did make some splash, especially that game against the Bears. But there's still left to be desired, especially being an undrafted free agent out of Troy. There's still gonna be more out of him. Craig Woodson, I was okay with that pick, but that was because he was overreached. But then again, after looking at his plays, he could be like your Devin McCourty type, since we haven't had a Devin McCourty type ever since he retired. And then Jalen Hopkins, he's going to be more of your body type. Ebbs is going to be your body. It's going to be more of a body. I have no idea what Mapu's going to be doing on the defense. I wonder what they're going to be doing. So for me, I would have to wait. What is your grade for the safeties, Dustin?
A B.
Oh, a B. Okay, I think I already got it. I need to type that out. Damn it. But for me, I would also have to give this a. I would give this a B plus, just because I think the depth got a little better. I just want to see more out of it. So for me, I'm going to give it a B plus for now. Anything may subject to change, but here are all the grades for the defense, and we'll quickly get into special teams. I don't think we're going to be talking long snappers because we already have long snapper and Ashby, so I would give this an NA. But let's start with the kickers. Let's quickly hear your grades, Andy, under kickers.
So the kickers, I mean, this is special teams. We're not talking a huge amount of guys here at any position. Kickers, obviously, it's Andy Borregales and Parker Romo. And you all know whom I'm going with is my kicker one is going to be Andy Borregales out of Miami. Played in 50 career games. I'm looking, this is just Patriots.com for here, Molly, if you wonder where I get these. Made 76 of 80 field goals. That is 86%. And nearly perfect on extra point attempts at 183 out of 184. It was considered a real steal when we took him as the first special teamer in this past draft in the 6th round. He had, and you know, we got arguably the best player in college football, the best kicker rather in college football in Borregales, and I believe he was billed as a 5th round pick, early 6th round pick.
I think
Did we get him late 6th round, if I'm not mistaken?
I think he was the only 6th round pick.
Or no. I'm talking about when in the 6th round.
I would have to look. Let me quickly look that up.
I thought it was fairly early because if I remember correctly,
He was
we
picked
picked the
in
kicker
round
and then the
6
Ravens.
at pick 182. Pick 182.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No problem.
And then we have John Parker Romo who
was the backup for Will Reichard when he was injured in Minnesota.
In Minnesota, exactly. So we got him from the Vikings, and he only played in 4 games last season.
Yep.
But was field goals.
I actually have the stats for the kickers. So basically, Borgalis went 19 out of 20 in field goals from OTAs and minicamp.
Mm-hmm.
And then Parker Romo went 15 out of 20 for OTAs and minicamp.
Yeah, so, I mean, if I were obviously grading just Romo alone, which we're not, nobody is, I'd probably give this an A+. Romo knocks it down to the A minus range. And Borregales being as reliable as he is, and us almost certainly being our kicker 1, I think I'll go toward more the A side of things here.
Okay, so I'll give you like an A. Reasonable A. And Paperweights did say that he made a 67-yard 67-yard kick during his pro day.
Yeah, and he was like the best kicker in the country on field goals if it was either 45 or 50 plus. He only missed
1.
That's what I thought. It was either 1 or 2. Yeah, so really, he's got, maybe shades of Justin Tucker, Greg Zuerlein.
I don't want to hear Greg the Leg again.
Oh, and of course, all right, I'll take that back. And of course, we know our kicker since we lost one, Nick Folk, which again,
yes, Nick Folk.
He who shan't be named got rid of Nick Folk. But anyway, I digress.
And then and then Vinatieri, and then
in the 4th round, we drafted Chad Ryland.
And thank God we got rid of his ass, and now with Arizona. But
right, but anyway.
Let's get to Austin's grade for the kickers.
Yeah, I think overall the special teams is a solid group. I mean, we got an elite returner, promising rookie kicker. We got a rookie long snapper, and then solid Bryce Behringer. I mean, stuff to like. As far as Andy Borgalis, I mean, I think he has very strong mechanics, high confidence from the coaches that he can make these kicks. I mean, he's proven it with some of those long kicks that you guys were talking about. He's showed a lot of strong leg strength on kickoffs, providing multiple touchbacks. He seems to be calm under pressure in a lot of the simulated end-of-half drills they were doing. And he's been gelling pretty quickly with the snapper-holder combo.
Wait, simulated what?
I know it's Julian.
Simulator combo, I think what he said.
Simulated end-of-half drills, like where you just need to drive down the field. You got 40 seconds on the clock. You're just trying to get a field goal type of thing. He's been gelling well with the snapper and the holder. I know the snapper obviously is Julian Ashby. I'm guessing the holder would be the backup quarterback and Joshua Dobbs or something, because that's typically what it is. Because even Brady,
usually
when he was
the
first starting
punter.
out, he was one holding kicks. But the punter now. I just know back in the day. But
back in the day.
So it's probably Bryce Behringer holding the kick.
It was like that in Madden.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot to love with Andy Borgalis. I think we got the best kicker in the draft. I mean, the Ravens, I think not even 10 picks later, took a kicker as well. So we got on that train just in time. And I think the difference with this draft versus last draft is last draft, it felt like we were always playing catch up to what the other teams were picking. And this year, it felt like we were on top of every run of players that was about to happen. So that was really nice. John Parker Romo, though, I don't know. It comes down to, do we carry 2 kickers just because of if somebody gets hurt? But I don't think you do that. I think you just rock with Andy Borgalis and say if he does get hurt, you bring someone on. But Parker Romo provides a veteran leg, but he's been quite inconsistent this spring. He missed a pair of 40-yarders in red zone situations. He's had some strong kickoffs, but he still trails Borgalis in consistency. And he just seems like a prime candidate for the practice squad or a mid-season elevation, as I was saying, if an injury comes up. Overall, I'm very happy with this group. I think it blows Joey Sly and Chad Ryland and Nick Foll and anybody before that out of what we've had for kickers. So I'm going to give this group an A.
Okay, an A. So we were gonna. So we want to quickly answer Molly's question, but so you're gonna have to save that question by the end of the season because we haven't seen any kicks out of Borgalis yet. But how would you compare this to Vinatieri or Folk or Goskowski? If any of you guys want to answer this.
I'd still have to wait.
I don't think you can really compare to. Yeah, I don't think you compare to Vinatieri because obviously Vinatieri is like all-time great, if not best clutch kicker of all time.
I'm surprised he's not in the Pro
Goskowski was like the epitome of. Oh, he should be already. Goskowski was like the epitome of consistency. I mean, you just knew he was going to make kicks up until the end. Like towards the end, he started missing a lot. I mean, remember that Falcon Super Bowl? He missed some extra points, and you're sitting there going, "What the hell?" I think Nick Folk. I think if Andy Borgalis puts on a Nick Folk type of season, I think we'd be happy with that because I kind of look at him as like the consistency of Nick Folk, but he has a way stronger leg than Nick Folk.
Okay. How about you, Dustin? Like with the grading?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to go with an A. I mean, from what I remember from reading at his college stats, an A for Borgalis, he definitely did really well. Had a lot of accurate kicks at like 30s, 40s, 50-yard line. Played in some decent lever. I'm curious to see how he's going to do in the cold, but he played in almost any aspect of the lever and was still accurate in most cases, if not all cases. So I'm very high on this guy. I'm very curious to see what he's got. But I do apologize for this, but I am going to have to go ahead and head up out of here. My grandfather is blowing up my phone. There's some sort of emergency or something going on, so I need to go check and see what that is. I'm like about to have to leave right now.
Well, have a great rest of your.
I'm going to send you the rest of my.
Have a good one,
the rest
Dustin.
of my grades on Discord, but I appreciate you all from coming out. Hope to see y'all again here soon. Love you all. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one.
Peace, man.
If you want to take over Paper Planes, you can. If you want to take over Paper Planes, I could send you the. I'll just send you the link to the chat if you want Paper Planes. You can join if you want, but since he gave us his A, I'll give my grade just quickly before we. I think we'll be done after the kickers because I don't think there's nothing to discuss with long snapper or punter or maybe.
Oh, did you get my comment, Dao?
With for what?
I just put it in the chat.
It has to. You ask Austin. I don't. Oh,
Yeah.
Wait. Okay, so Dustin's grades for the remaining grades for punter A, kick returner B+, punt returner B+. I can't see anything from you, Andy.
No, I posted it was for Austin. Where did you get the Romo stats?
Oh.
Again, I'd have to look. I did a lot of research, and I didn't really do any like works cited pages, so I'd have to like go back through and see.
Yeah, you're gonna have to look at either
Mike.
It was between Mike Reese, Carlos A. Lopez, and Taylor Kyles. But I think we have paper.
Yeah, a lot of it.
I think we have paper ways.
Yeah.
And how are we doing, man?
Hey,
I'm doing good, guys. How are you? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey.
So, what are your thoughts over on your grades?
Sorry, Austin. Would you mind looking at some point if you have time?
So I missed the very beginning of the stream, so I didn't get to catch what you guys had for the D line. I think I caught it right in outside linebackers. So that's when I got home, I saw you guys were live. So I wanted to make sure I hopped on. So from outside linebackers on, I mean everything like it's really we got to see it till we won't really know until we see everything. You know, it's all a matter of the coaching aspect, but I think we're really in a good spot. I mean, we improved the defensive line. We've got Milton Williams, who I believe is significantly better than Godshaw if you want to go by position aspect of what we replaced there. Carlton Davis opposite Gonzalez. I mean, that's already a lethal combination right there. I was pitching the idea of doing Ramsey in the middle, but I still think Marcus Jones is like, that's really, I think this is going to be a great opportunity for him to shine with Carlton Davis, with him, or with Gonzo. And then on top of that, the safety room is just, there's great bodies in there. Jabril Peppers, I know last year wasn't great, but the thing is, those legal situations, it's always messy. There's never anything good that really comes of that. But I think Jabril Peppers can still play. He's great team leader. Duggar, same thing, great team leader. Unfortunately, he had to play through an injury to step up in place of Pepper's absence. But Craig Woodson, with that, man, Craig Woodson was severely slept on in this whole draft. But Cal is like a fact, where he came from, University of California, is a crazy factory of what they do with defensive backs, corners, safeties. So for him to come to us, like, we've really filled this defense out nicely. So my overall grade, man, I know it's, kind of bullish, like Patriots fan here kind of thing, but I mean, we were last year constantly saying we're going to be a top 5 defense because we still got all these guys. I mean, we're better than what we were coming in on paper last year. We got Spillane, Gibbons that we just grabbed, Landry as well, and on top of that, our rookies with Swinson and Farms. And even some of the guys that stepped up last year in Farmer and goodness gracious, Roy. A lot of these guys are still here to play, still good guys. Anthony Jennings, I think he's going to probably come into it in training camp. We'll just see what we build off of and who makes the team.
Yeah,
I love
definitely,
your
man.
take.
I can't wait. I can't wait for training camp, my guy.
Yeah.
It's going to be, I know it starts on the 23rd. I'll be away, but as soon as I can go down, I'll go down and get a look at these players. And I've gone for the past few years. Have you ever been to training?
I'm jealous. Camp? No, I'm actually from Delaware, dude.
From Delaware, all right.
Yeah, I've been a Patriots fan since Drew Bledsoe. So a lot of the Ravens, Eagles, Giant, like all these local teams in my area, like kind of thought I was like the bandwagon guy, but I literally have a Drew Bledsoe figurine in my room and have been I'm a redhead, so I see this redheaded quarterback and I'm like, there's hope for me. Well, I only grew up to be I grew up to be 5'10", so it really didn't work out in my favor to be anything in the NFL. So regardless, I just got hooked on the Patriots and I just never, Bledsoe went down. My dad came in my room, was like, are you going to be a Steelers fan now? Because he's a Steelers fan. And I said, I'm going to stick with the Patriots. And, well, next thing I know, Tom Brady just took over the team, and Tom Brady's my favorite player.
And of course, just like, just like almost the entire punditry thought, essentially a rookie quarterback. Oh, gosh, the Pats aren't going anywhere. And then we know what happened.
Right, exactly, man. It's just like it's been a very great 20 years. Unfortunately, the last 5 years now since Brady's departed. Yeah. It's not been the best, but I mean, I think regardless, like when Bill left, I was very hopeful with Mayo.
I tried to keep my hope open for Mayo, but
I get it, and regardless, like I know it's a very hot topic, and I've debated with numerous Pats fans throughout the numerous CLNS chats and everything that just hated him. Just like, and I get it, he really didn't do himself a lot of favors. But regardless, man, like he came into this like expecting to be the coach, I believe, the following rather this time this year, or I don't think they planned on moving Belichick as soon as they did. But just the results just were not improving with Bill. It was sloppy draft after sloppy draft.
Yeah.
And, you just threw this guy into the fire. And, I think had he had somebody on the offensive side that, he personally had a better relationship with, maybe things could have improved. But also, I can't really explain Covington. I thought Covington was brilliant. I thought he did great work with our defensive line. Over the years. Mayo, he's just a overall great leader, and he was a great leader as a player for us. I loved him.
And to be fair to Mayo, I loved him as a player too. And to be fair to him, I mean, that succession plan was way too again, it goes back to Belichick. He had no real plan in place for poor Gerard. I mean, he got thrown to the wolves the same way May did.
Right. I think a quick thing I just want to say, I think the belief is that when Gerard was interviewing for the Panthers, they re-signed him like prior to him actually going to that interview with the Panthers, and it was written in that he would be the successor to Bill. I think when Bill got wind that got added into his contract, oh, so you're putting a timeline on my exit. I see.
Right.
So as opposed to him like, all right, buddy, here we go. I know I only got a couple years left and I'm going to hit the road. Bill didn't have any plans on leaving.
No, it was Belichick's chip on its shoulder, rearing its ugly head again. It's I'm gonna up
it's
yours,
like
Mayo.
Like how he treated every player over the years, you know. So I mean, look,
enough of that rabbit hole, my guy. But I think
we're happy with what we have now. We've got look. Let's embrace what we have now.
We're rocking and rolling with 2025. I mean, obviously, we're not going to know until the games start in 3 months.
Absolutely, man.
Two and a half now, and we're all pretty psyched for it. And
it's looking great for us. Our future's looking solid. I just want to say quick things, man. Like I don't know who out of this channel had tagged me in a comment or whatever. But I was on a live stream, and I'm always on the live streams. I'm always like just chatting with everybody, like debating or doing whatever, and just stuff I do in my free time. I'm in Delaware. I don't have enough Patriots friends out here, so it's kind of I'll make friends or enemies out this way by doing the live chats. So somebody commented and said, "Hey, check out our shows." I've seen one of the shows like probably rather within this past year leading up to the draft or so forth. And I just never really like hopped on the live streams or anything like that. But dude, I'm like obsessed with the draft. So anytime, I know it's ways and ways and ways away. But if you guys, like when this time comes next year, if you guys would be interested or need additional insight, that was the main reason I had asked for if there's a way to talk to you guys privately. We'll just do it publicly here. If there's a way that I could reach out to you guys, like for when we would go into draft discussions or something like that, I'd love to just come in with my knowledge or anything that I've learned along the way watching some of these prospects and try to help you guys out in any way I can.
Thanks, we appreciate you, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. But before we get to the punchers, I'm just going to explain something to you, Paperwave. So we, like I said before, we do have a Discord page that and then we also, me, Dustin, Austin, and Andy have our very own group chat called the Patriots Clubhouse. I can send you. So if you can join the link. So if you could join the link to Colby's Patriots Global, can. So I can send you the link. Well, I could send you the link now, like at the end of the stream, so to like our group chat, and from there we can discuss a whole things that you really want when it comes to like insight. And I'm good. I don't know which player I want to continue doing like film breakdowns, because I seem to love doing film breakdowns, and you said you love the draft, and I love the draft too. So this is a perfect opportunity for me to expand my content on this channel than just like grades and discussions and
yeah, definitely, man. I mean, really, it's kind of tough when you get thrown like Mel Kiper's board, and it's like you're kind of shoved down your throat that these are the guys that you need to pay attention to. There's so many better players out there that like just don't get the praise that they do. Like Craig Woodson, on like talent wise, dude, is like a 3rd round pick. For where we got him, like at the 4th, like I think like that's a steal. And everybody looked at his name and said, "Who the heck's this guy? We could have got this guy from Georgia or something." Nah, dude, he's good. Like he's exactly what as advertised, everything he is. Will Campbell was another guy. Everybody's like, "Oh, he's got short arms." Well, like some of the tape on him, he gets beat, but at the same time though, like he went 24 games straight without giving up a single sack.
Yeah,
dude, like in the SEC. Come on, like
It was
you're,
one of you. I think I might have even gotten into a tiny spat with you because
it probably was me because I was like die hard. I'm gonna like how Campbell was. I'm gonna fight and die for my quarterback. I was fighting and dying for Campbell. So
you were Campbell all the way, and when he said that, he sold me. I was like, I didn't want that guy. I believed he's gonna amount to a guard.
He's not Skoronski. He is not Skoronski. I believe on top of that was 6'4". Campbell's 6'6". And the athletic ability between the two, not comparable. Like they're two different. Like Skoronski is more on the strong push side, whereas Campbell, he is still strong upper body, but he's got the more athletic move side to side aspects to him.
And as they say, all you need to do is ask Jaden Daniels. He adored Will Campbell. I mean, and look at
now
we'll watch a rookie.
We'll watch the collapse of Nussmeier this year is my unfortunate take for him, but we'll see how that goes for LSU.
Here we go.
But hey, guys, I just wanted to at least just introduce myself. I enjoyed hopping in on the chat, watching you guys. And I'll look for I'll hop on the Discord and we'll just go from there. If there's any ways I can help like promote or advertise the show for you guys as well too, like I'll gladly do so because I mean,
there you go.
You guys spend the time. You guys have already been here for what's showing me 2 hours 20 minutes. Like, dude, you guys should deserve your time and try to get people to watch what you guys are doing.
We've done this before. We've dragged this 2 hours, and I think we did this before. I think Andy remembers this. We did a draft, a mock draft party once, and it dragged to 2 hours. You, me, Chris.
Austin.
I don't think Austin was in the.
We have Austin.
No, for the mock draft party that I hosted.
I don't think I was there for the mock draft.
Honestly,
yeah,
I think it was Chris. It was me and Dao.
Yeah, it was me, Chris. No, you, me, Chris, and then I brought in Jaden to the mix, and then a little bit
Dustin.
of
Maybe Dustin was there. I don't remember.
No, Dustin was later after the draft, but we'll discuss it later. But let's quickly head over to the punters because we're way behind schedule.
Oh yeah. Okay, so sorry I held you guys up. That's my fault.
No. You didn't hold us up. Thanks for popping in, buddy.
Absolutely. Last thing, Denzel Boston, Washington wide receiver. That's my guy for us next year.
Okay.
Hopefully, if he might skyrocket this year. We'll see.
All right, we'll remember the name. Thanks, bud.
All right, guys. Great talking to you.
Peace.
Have a great day, Paper Waves.
See ya.
Thank you.
See ya. But since it's us two, let's quickly get over to the punters and then the longs, and then just the punter, and then we'll call it a stream. But what are your thoughts on Bryce Behringer?
Bryce Behringer, I like what he's done for the Patriots. I think he was drafted in 2023. But yeah, no, he's 26. Yeah, he was drafted in 2023, was a consensus All-American, punter of the year in 2022. I actually didn't know that. So if I look at his BFF super quick here, 11th out of 39 punters with a 76.6 in 2024. I mean, he had a couple. It was against the Colts. I hate to bring that game up again, but he had a really good punt. He pinned him like inside either the 10 or the 12. He's got a leg just like Borregales. I mean, Borregales is a kicker. We're talking a punter here in Bryce Behringer, but I mean, a lot of our problem last year was field position. It wasn't bad punt returns. So I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna give punter rather an A-.
Okay, an A-.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm sorry, I don't want to go too in depth with these guys. They're special teamers, but yeah.
Yeah, special teamers. But I'm just going to quickly take care of something, and Austin, you can give in your grade, and then I'll give my grade.
Yeah, for sure. I think Bryce Behringer as a punter has been excellent for us since the moment we drafted him. Just consistency over the past 2 seasons, right? 2023, so 2023, 2024. I mean,
23.
When Jake Bailey left, I mean, I know we were all up in arms. It was like, oh no, our all-pro punter, what are we gonna do? Draft another all-pro punter, apparently. So
he was good. Belichick was good. I mean, even though he it was Chad Ryland was also our pick that year. He was good at finding special teamers.
Oh yeah. He's had good hang time, and he's been working on his directional placement. In OTAs, specifically the final session, he averaged 4.7 seconds on hang time, which is great because that's going to give our gunners the necessary time needed to, sprint down the field and get to their return specialist and hopefully tackle them within, short yardage pickup. Clean hold operation on kicks has impressed a lot of the coaches. He's been garnishing a strong bond with the coverage unit, and he's been praised for quick release timing. And he's proven that he has a consistent leg, but I think he needs to improve on his inside the 20 accuracy because I find that it's a little shaky, or he's almost getting touchbacks when he obviously doesn't intend to. You want to try and pin people, within the 10-yard line. But he did pin 3 punts inside the 10 during team scrimmages. So you definitely see that steady incline. And I think other than that, he only had 1 miscue, and it was like a windy day. And all that really tells me is he just needs to be prepped for situational control, because obviously weather is one thing that we can't control in the game of football. So I think that's something that him and Andy Borgalis are going to have to get acclimated to is, when the wind's blowing, when the rain's falling, when the snow's coming down, how does that affect your ability to kick a football? So overall, I would give Bryce Behringer, the punter group, a B+.
Okay, a B+. Yeah, it's kind of sucked that ever since Bailey's gone, ever since that we had Ryan Allen. I don't know who was the other punter before Ryan Allen, but it seems we have a consistency of having punters. And the fact that I don't know if I thought Behringer would be wearing goggles in my opinion as a punter, considering that he did wear goggles in Michigan State. He was a 6th rounder. He was a 6th rounder for a punter, but the consistency that he had as a punter, I think it's really good. And I know for a fact that I was thinking of someone else, but I thought Jeremy Springer said he really loved Bryce Behringer, but I think he makes Bryce Behringer a lot better than what he did in Michigan State. But he was like, well, I didn't think we would draft a punter in the in the draft, but considering that we didn't resign Jake Bailey for some reason, probably because of the injury. But the fact that we have we're continuously developing Bryce Behringer to be that punter. He's not like Jack Fox. He's not like your Colquitt or like your Ryan Allens. But the fact that he has been really consistent as a punter, I would actually give this an A- just for a punter. And then I think that's going to be it, because I don't think there's much to say about long snapper or kick returner or punt returner, because there's too much and we're dragging out of time. But that's going to be it for today's live stream. Thank God this show is over. I thought it would last for like an hour. Unfortunately, I let it drag because I did not think that this would last for this long, unfortunately. But however, guys, please make sure that you smash the like button and hit subscribe. It's completely free and helps support the channel. My bad. And Monday, so this upcoming Monday, we're doing part 2 of the 53-man roster. I don't know how long that will last, since so many players. You have 90 players. And I'm trying my absolute best not to drag that long considering to the first one, because the first one we did was 2 hours and 30 minutes, and this live stream is beyond 2 hours and 30 minutes. So I'm hoping and praying that it's not going to be that long, but I'm trying my best right here, guys. But thank you as always again for joining us today. Thank you, Gerard. Thank you, Molly, for bringing your questions, and the fact that you're our first timer here. That's really awesome. Continue asking questions on football, because the more questions you ask, the better knowledge that you have about the Patriots and football in general. So thank you so much for that, Molly. Thank you to Gerard. Thank you to Luke. Thank you to Paperwaves for joining on for this session for a little bit to take over for
panelists. Nice.
Yeah, and if you want to see more Paperwaves, please click the damn subscribe button. We want more hosts. But as always, go Pats.
Go Pats.
Go Pats.